Finnish government has for a long time been working in foresight. So planning for the future and defining visions and strategies, and one has also used a lot of so-called moonshot thinking. That one sets a goal that is very, very high up
Flying
there.
to the moon.
Yeah, like what Joe Kennedy said, that by end of this century we will have a man on the moon.
Yeah.
And of course everybody was like, oh my god, the president went and said that, how are we going to do that? You see, that's I guess where moonshot thinking comes from. And Finnish government already actually in the 90s created a strategy called Finland towards Internet and Information Society. And that was the groundwork also for the 2007 government of Vanhanen to think about broadband as a digital every citizen's right. Almost like right to education and other rights that you have as a
as we
citizen.
call it in German, the Daseinsvorsorge. It belongs to your
It is
being
your
as
right.
being as a human being.
And it also means, of course, that when it became the law on 1st of July 2010,
Was reliable.
after that it means that any Finnish citizen who can say that I don't have any possibility of getting broadband, then you can go and ask the government, and government has to react. They have to do it. They have to enable you to get broadband. And of course the law itself doesn't guarantee very fast broadband. That's not even the point. But when it happened, that when this became the law, it started a boom. It started really a boom that one can see in those charts about how much data is used per average SIM card in Finland in a month. In 2010, 2011, Finland and Germany were very close to each other. They're at about half a gigabyte per month per SIM card. Now we're already approaching 14, 15 GB, and Germany unfortunately is still at only 1.
And you're nearly approaching our fixed band.
Yes, as a matter of fact, the projection was that in 2016, I don't have that data, but projection was that in 2016 at some point, Finnish average mobile broadband speed went past average German fixed broadband speed.
Okay, next question. I will phrase it first in English. Is what role was the small and medium-sized businesses taking in this development?
Small and medium-sized companies have, of course, not been the decision makers about such legislature, but it has allowed every regular, normal, subcontractor to a machinery company, or guys who are not necessarily that digital, if you like.
Did they use it then, and it gave them an impact to develop their companies?
Because it was possible. Because it became possible, and everybody started thinking that this is so cheap, and I do need fast access to internet, and I need to download and upload all kinds of things and search for information and look for new customers and what you have. So it has become really like a very traditional SME entrepreneur who has his hands in oil. They're using broadband because it is so readily available, so easily available, doesn't cost much anything. So it's like air.
They got the opportunity and they used it.
Yes.
And was it only for SME companies, or was it relatively the same in your society?
It's very normal in the society.
In schools and universities, and was it the boom that they became innovative as well?
Well, it has created sort of like another boom itself in the creation of digital SMEs, digital companies that are connected to the global markets, and they can do that because once you are connected to a very fast, low-cost broadband access, then you can go and, for example, become an e-lancer. E-lancer is like a freelancer, but connected to the global marketplaces, digital marketplaces, and you can upload terabytes of data even because you're dealing with very complex big masses of material and doing perhaps creative design, and then you are selling that design in the global marketplace. Perhaps a Japanese corporation ends up buying your product, your digital product, and you can't do that if you don't have that digital broadband ground to stand on.
So what you actually did was digging the raw material of innovation and mind.
Yes.
As a raw material which everybody has.
Yeah, sort of like, yes, in a way, that kind of a mining analogy.
Yeah, mining.
I like that. It is true, and I'm a big believer that oftentimes you have to create the availability of something so that people start seeing that, okay, hey, I like that. Because like Henry Ford said always that if I would have believed market studies, well, I go and ask people, what do you want? They say, I want a faster horse. Of course he had to create the T Ford in order to be able to say to people that, hey, look here is a car. This is much better than a horse. It comes in any color you like, as long as it's black. and of course, he made history.
So what did it make with the mentality in Finland? Did it help to change mentality, to open minds?
Yes, and I think that
I'm thinking on slush because that's something which you need a very open mindset.
Yeah, you do. It did, and it has been changing the mindset dramatically.
Yeah.
So you see, still 10, 20 years ago, if you would have 1,000 students in an auditorium, and you would ask how many of you would like to become an entrepreneur, start your own company, only 5 hands would rise. Now, if you go, okay, the academic year is starting right now in September, it just has started. And if you now go and ask an auditorium full of students, how many of you wants to be a startup entrepreneur? Half of the hands go up.
Really?
Yes. And traditional companies, for example, in business schools, the traditional consulting firms and the traditional big industry companies, they are kind of worried nowadays because the students raise their hand and they want to become startup entrepreneurs, and they don't want to go and work for PwC.
Let me ask a final question here after our congress. What I noticed is that the idea of the old-fashioned Hanse now developed into a digital Hanse idea. What chances would you give this idea? Because if I look at the Baltic states, if I look to the Scandinavian states, and if I watch what Mecklenburg-Vorpommern is telling us, it seems to be a revival of the old Hanse idea turning into a digital Hanse. Is that right?
Yeah, I think turning it into a digital Hanse, I think there is a great opportunity for that, given that all the countries around the Baltic Sea, especially those areas that are close to the sea itself, just like in the Hanseatic League times, given that those areas develop their digital infra so that it really functions well. But certainly it's a very good idea, and that mentality and that thinking that Swedes, Germans, Danes, Latvians, Poles, all of us around the Baltic Sea, we have long-going traditions doing business together. We've been doing that at least for the last, well, as a matter of fact, archaeology findings are showing that for more than 1,500, 2,000 years. Yes, because you can find Roman coins, for example, in Finland, and that means that we were probably doing business with Germans because you had these Romans here. and it's just an example. We've done it for so long. The mentality is there, the tradition is there, and now we just do it digitally.
So this gives us a very, very good outlook for next year's presidency of Finland in the EU.
Yes, I think Finland will take Europe and shake it and say, hey, everything needs to be very, very fast and digital, because we are fast in Finland. Just look at our Formula 1 drivers and broadband.
After we had the chance today to listen to you, I think you have followers here, and at least in our association.
I think FRK is a very, very good organization, very well run, and I enjoyed the atmosphere at the conference because I noticed that people had that curiosity to learn about new things, and I didn't sense anything, that would be like meh, but it was all really good.
Well, thanks you.
No, but
you were
thank
one
you.
of those people who did it. Now we have.
Achtung, ihr müsst ein Ding noch machen, ihr müsst mehr auf das praktische Zusammenarbeiten von Mittelständlern in Finnland, weil wenn wir eine Reise oder sowas announcen wollen, dann müssen wir die ja triggern.
Yes.
Ja?
Okay.
Und deshalb müsst ihr nochmal, muss sagen, also der Finnisch...
I could say that that hey, here's an idea that we want to invite FRK members to come
to the
on a
creativity studios.
Business and innovation and creativity visit to Finland, and perhaps the workshops and stuff.
Okay.
I'm going to ask it because of the presidency next
clap
year.
hands.
Oh yeah. Because of your role and the Finnish role next year in the EU, do you see any chance to use that opportunity to bring together our small business guys from FRK with the fitting partners in Finland? How could we do practical? How can we turn that what we were discussing today into practical business?
Finland, of course, will be pushing the digital agenda in Europe, and we can combine this with this digital handset thinking. And Finland will be full of excellent innovation events and opportunities. And around some good event, I would very much like to invite FRK to put together a team of good German SME companies, your members, and we set a time and date, and you come to Finland for like 3 days, and it includes company visits. We maybe run an innovation workshop or something like that, and explore possibilities of working together with Finnish SMEs and creating win-win-win situations.
Okay, I'll try to get that done. Thank you very much.
Thank you.